Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Andrea and it's nice to have you guys here. So this is the first of several videos that I'm going to be putting up this week. It's back to school week on this channel, even though I've been back to school for a few weeks now. Where I go to school, we start in the middle of August. It's pretty early. I know some schools start in September, so I tried to time this so that it was kind of right in the middle of kind of the month that everyone seems to be going back to school. So I have several videos planned. Today is going to be a tag video. I've got a haul, I've got what's in my school bag, I've got a ton of advice videos coming up. So hopefully throughout this week there'll be a little something for everyone, whether you're an undergrad, starting your undergrad, a master's student, a PhD student, a teacher, little something for everyone. So today I thought I would do kind of a back to school tag, just to kind of kick things off. But there's kind of a twist, so it's kind of more the grad school version. And I hope the glasses don't get too distracting. Without them, I'm practically blind, and I'm filming these in between all of my other work today. So I need to be able to see. My contacts aren't the most comfortable thing for working. So, okay, diving right in. Question number one, what are you studying? So I've talked about this before, and I'll try to put in either a card or I'll include the link below. I am studying, I'm an English major, but I study fashion. Yes, I know that sounds a bit odd. So I'm in a rhetoric program, or it's writing rhetorics and literacies, but within that I focus on rhetoric. And my particular focus is fashion rhetoric. So how fashion conveys messages, what fashion and what clothing styles say about us as individuals, what they say about us as a collective group. There's a ton of different things that I could study within that. My dissertation is looking at fashion icons in public memory though, so that's what I'm reading for my comp exam, which if you follow me on Instagram, you've been seeing all of my comp exam updates. And that's what my dissertation will be about. So what year are you in? I am entering my 4th year of my PhD. It feels like forever that I've been in grad school, but 4th year of my PhD, so I need to hurry up and pass my comps and get on to my dissertation. What inspired you to study your major? That's an interesting question. I've always been interested in fashion. And I used to be a costume designer, and as I did that, I got into costume design because it was like fashion design, but for every period in the past and every possible period in the future, as well as alternate realities and fantasy worlds. So that's what got me into costume design. As I got further into costume design, I realized that what I really loved about it was the researching characters, researching the plays, researching the backgrounds, and coming up with designs that backed up the concept. So that's what kind of made me want to start studying it at a more serious level. And I don't know, I also kind of decided that if I was going to go back and do a PhD, I wanted it to be in a field that I could get a job in. So English seemed fairly sensible. But I also wanted to be able to study something that I actually cared about. That was kind of a lesson that I learned in my first master's degree. You really shouldn't do grad school unless you really care about the research you're doing, or you might not survive it. So that's what kind of got me into it. When I found the rhetoric program, I didn't even know what rhetoric was, other than like rhetorical question or political rhetoric. Like I really had no idea. And as I was discussing it with the professor that I was talking to, I realized just how interdisciplinary it was and that I really could do the fashion research that I wanted to do, and that it fit really well in rhetoric. What convinced you to go to grad school or college? I wanted a job. I finished my first master's degree right as the economy was just imploding, and I couldn't get a job with the master's that I had. So, yeah. Whether this was the best choice I could have made for my life is kind of debatable, but it's a choice that I've made, and I'm 3 years in, headed into my 4th year, so I can't exactly quit now, and I don't want to quit. But I think my reasons for starting grad school are different. That feels like a whole other video. I will probably do a video at some point for those of you who aren't in grad school about should you go to grad school. So mention in the comments if you'd be interested in that, or give the video a thumbs up, because I feel like what inspired me or what convinced me to go to grad school, I would have very different reasons now than I did 5 years ago when I started my second master's and started down the path to a PhD. What's your acceptance story? That's interesting. So long story short, I applied to 7 PhD programs. I got rejected from 6 of them, and I got accepted to 1, but then I got waitlisted for funding. So I got my acceptance in February, but I didn't find out that I would have funding until April. It was actually the day that I defended my master's thesis. The way my program works, because I did my second master's at the same university that I'm doing my PhD at. And so the way that our program works is when you do your defense, you give your presentation, and then they kick you out of the room for however many minutes while they deliberate, and then they bring you back in and they let you know if you passed or if you need revisions, whatever. And so that's what they did. I stepped outside, anxiously waited. They brought me back in, and they told me that not only did I pass with minor revisions, which is pretty much what I was expecting, because that was pretty typical. So I got my pass with minor revisions, and then I also got told, and by the way, I just signed the letter for your PhD TA-ship offer. So that was like amazing. But yeah, there were a few months of anxiously waiting, of knowing that I had been accepted, but without funding I really couldn't go. And so what would I do if I couldn't go? So yeah. Did you move far away for school? Nope. I've managed to do all of my college education in the state of Arizona, which is where my family relocated after my dad retired from the Army, and the furthest I've ever gone is Tucson. So not far at all. But yeah, for my PhD, I've managed to stay in the Phoenix Valley, which is really great and really convenient. But I am desperate to move far away once I graduate. So, question number 7. What do you plan to do when you finish? Move far, far away. That's what I plan to do. No, I hope to be a professor. I'll see. I'm also open to alternative academia, or ALTAC. So those are jobs that require, or at least prefer, a graduate degree, but are not a traditional academic teaching, research, professorship type job. So I plan on casting the net far and wide, both geographically and in terms of jobs and what I would actually do. So I have no idea. That's 2 years away, a year before I start applying. We'll see what happens when I get there. Would I suggest it to others? I think I do need to do a separate video on this. It's a long kind of answer, but I guess the short version is it depends. It really does depend on what you want to do, and this is how I feel about college in general. You need to figure out what you want to do as a career, and then you need to figure out the best, most effective way to get there. If your job requires a certain degree, then you need to go to school and get that degree. if it doesn't require it, and if there's some other way you can get there, try that first. So yeah, I will do a longer video on like specific questions you can ask yourself to like consider that. But yeah, my fast answer is what I suggested. It really depends. What would you say to others to encourage them? So this advice is going to be specifically for grad school, but it definitely applies to college, like undergrad, and masters. But each one is its own beast, so bear that in mind. Advice I would give to others. Doing a PhD is one of the most physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually destructive, difficult, agonizing process you will ever go through. It really is like, I mean, if I had to do a metaphor, it's like climbing Everest. Doing a PhD is one of the most difficult things you will ever do as a student. But it is also one of the most intellectually, mentally, emotionally gratifying, exciting, exhilarating experiences you will ever go through. It really, I keep coming back to Everest. And obviously I've never climbed Everest, but I've watched documentaries about people doing it. It's one of those things where the highs are really high when you do a great presentation at a conference, when you get an amazing comment from a professor or from, a rock star scholar at one of the conferences, getting to meet some of your academic heroes, when you do really well in a class. I mean, the highs are really high, but the lows can be pretty low, and it's a very delicate balance to keep everything together. So yeah, that would be, that's not really advice, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. I think the quote, "This too shall pass," is really important to remember through everything. The bad times will pass. The moments that you're really struggling, you will get through them, you will move on, this too shall pass. But the good moments too, enjoy those. When you get an acceptance to be published in something, celebrate that. When you finish a paper, celebrate that. When you get good comments, when you get accepted or you do an awesome presentation at a conference, celebrate that, enjoy that, because those moments are going to pass too. And you need to be able to hold on to those memories to get you through the more difficult times. So that's one of the big things that I would say to encourage people. It is going to be difficult. It's not going to be a walk in the park. But if you've made the right decision to go, it's entirely worth it. So that is the back to school tag, graduate edition, grad school edition. The questions are down below. I would love to see some of you guys do this, especially some of my grad school friends on here who make videos. I'm gonna go ahead and tag Forest Deer, and I know I've got a few grad students who watch but don't have channels, so would love to hear your acceptance stories or your what you study, your motivations to go back to school, or go to school to pursue graduate levels. I might tag some of my viewers, so if you're one of my PhD student viewers, check out the description box. I'd love to hear more from you girls about your back to school adventures and your grad student stories. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned. Like I said, there's going to be more videos tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. I think I've got like 7 or 8 planned. Filming them as quickly as I can, and then just going to be uploading them as soon as I can edit and export them. So it's gonna be fun, and I'm doing this all at the same time as teaching and doing comps reading. What have I decided to do? This could all just be a big mistake. So stay tuned and see how this works out. I think next up might be the haul, because I want to start using some of those things. I feel like I need to film that so that I can start using them. So I will see you all soon in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to y'all later. Talk to you in the comments. Leave me a comment. I love, love, love reading them. Bye-bye.